Hello! Welcome everyone! My name is Liam. Making OCs is something that I've grown fond of in the past few months. Making their backstories, species and character traits is always so fun and a great creative outlet. And today I will be guiding you through the creation of my newest OCs. So with no further ado, let's get started. I sadly forgot to record the sketch for the first OC, but I remembered right in time for the actual part of the creation. I already had a pretty clear vision of this character. It will be an ancient sea creature born from the land itself, as her whole species does. And those big things behind her are basically fins attached to the back of her neck. And for the clothes, I fucked up. I am so bad at creating clothes, and I thought, well, she's a savage creature, so if she wears something, which I imagine she doesn't, but whatever, it might just be a piece of cloth wrapped around her body. But it was an awful idea. Luckily, I managed to change it afterwards. You might notice she doesn't have toes, and that's because her feet are kind of like frog feet. They're like that on purpose and not at all because I don't know how to draw toes. At first, I wanted her to have some color division between her skin and the places closer to her fins, but that ended up not happening. I was having a hard time imagining her facial features, therefore I decided that the only functional feature will be her eyes. The nose is just a bone with no purpose more than looking somewhat human. And her mouth is just non-existent. And the way she and her whole species receive oxygen is by ingesting water through small pores on their skin, only for it to be filtered to extract the oxygen and release the rest of the components, kind of like fish but without gills. I was unsure of what I wanted to do with her skin color. I didn't know if I wanted it to be more or less human, but I decided to make her green because why not? Also, this is the first OC I have ever made with a fantasy skin color, so that was exciting. I added those bits of human skin color, but I ended up ditching that idea later on. Don't even look at the clothes. Again, they were completely changed by the end, and this was a complete waste of time. I wanted the hair to be really dark so it would contrast with something that I added. You'll see. This is what I was talking about. I made the ends of the hair shiny as well as shining freckles and gills. I got inspired by bioluminescent fishes, and honestly, shining freckles and hair is my favorite character trait that I've used for any of my OCs. Especially the freckles, I don't know why, but I am so in love with them. Here's where it gets tricky, because when I realized that the clothes sucked and they just didn't work on her, I decided to draw her basically naked, so it will be easier to add the clothes later, and I don't think I can show that here. So, here's the finished design. I know they're a lot different, more revealing maybe, but I just think they're better because they allow more movement, especially underwater. And I just made her clothes for the sake of not having her naked on videos or public drawings, honestly. And I decided to give it a finishing touch by adding very subtle shadows. So here is the final product. I'm honestly quite happy with it. I really like how the overall design and idea of the species turned out. But we still have another character to bring to life, so let's get designing. My vision for this one wasn't as clear as the other one, but I still had a decent idea. And this time I did remember to record the whole thing. And don't worry, I won't have to censor anything for this one. Contrary to the other one, I wanted this one to have a kind of more loose pose, showing more humanity, even though it's the same species. Why is she more human, you may ask? I'll explain later on, but for now let's stick to the design choices. She's also a lot younger than the other one, I keep calling her the other one because I don't have names yet. You know what? I'm gonna call her A, and this one's going to be B, just so I don't mix them up. As I was saying, V is a lot younger than A. They have at least 100 years of age difference. So imagine A as a big old tired soul and B as a young bubbly child. I love this trope of characters, I'm sorry. I had a lot more struggle with the hair than for A. First, I thought of a big long braid, but then I realized that it would be better for her to have shorter hair than A. I was also determined to have her have a side part, because for some reason, none of my OCs have one. And after a bit of scrolling through Pinterest, I decided a sort of jellyfish cut was fitting. I was not making the same mistake as before, so instead of drawing the clothes first, I drew the whole shape of the body in case I wanted to try multiple options. But don't worry, I didn't draw her naked. I was struggling with the facial features. The hair side part was throwing me off, but nevertheless I managed to make it look good. The clothes weren't as big of a headache as before, because I already had a vibe of what I wanted them to look like, which made it a lot easier. I wanted them to still be suitable for swimming, but at the same time I didn't want them to just float and reveal everything when underwater, so I added some straps that attached the pieces of clothes to avoid that. I'm kind of bad at drawing emotions, but I still wanted her to be smiling with her teeth. I don't think it looks good, but it's fine. I'll have to practice emotions more often. Maybe I'll make a video about it someday. So, while I paint, I'm going to talk a little bit about the lore. In my world, there was a certain moment in which a lot of species started evolving, becoming more human both mentally and physically. No one really knows why, and by this I mean I haven't made up an explanation yet. Shut up. But this caused a fake sense of moral superiority in humans when they noticed. This concept will be further shown when I present to you my human OCs, Snow, and maybe also Ada and her whole group of friends/family. Species that live longer take longer to evolve since they have longer generation times. And this species right here lives about 300 years. But every now and then, there's a single individual from any species that is born a lot more evolved than the others. This character is one of them. She's not supposed to be this human, but she is. And even though her species is solitary, she feels even more alone, because she doesn't look like any of her family. She doesn't even think she should feel this way, for the sole reason it's considered human. I made this up while writing the script at 3 AM. I was feeling angsty. By the way, this is more of a concept idea for my world, but I'll probably be keeping it. Though it's still missing a lot of detail, which I'm going to share once I fully figured it out. Back to the design. I don't know about you, but I loved it. Something about it makes me wanna squeeze her to death. In a good way. And here is the final product. I hope you like it as much as I do. But I don't think that's possible, because that's my child and I have motherly love for her. That's why I'm going to traumatize her. But anyway, here are the two OCs together. Please, if you have any name ideas, put them in the comments, because I was not able to name them. I am so bad with names. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I have a lot of ideas for more videos. Remember to also leave a like, it really helps. And see you next time. Bye bye!